A very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for creating time for us. 15 days into the 7th month, the year 2020, a day when, like usual, we have so much that is making news right here in Kenya and beyond borders. We got a comprehensive news bulletin lined up for you. Our news team has been working around the clock since morning to compile some of the latest developments in the country. We are going to be taking you to the corridors of justice as well, looking at matters, eradication of FGM in the country, and also focus on what is trending in the world of business. A very good afternoon once again. My name is Serfine Achieng, and our sign language interpreter is Lensa Odingo. Remember, you're also part of this broadcast. Join us on social media at KBC Channel 1 and at Serfine_Achieng on Twitter. On Facebook, find me at Serfine Achieng. Share your thoughts with us with regards to some of the stories that we are going to be bringing your way. All right, let's begin straight away. Eradication of female genital mutilation in Taita Taveta County is proving to be a challenge, with perpetrators now devising new ways of dodging the law by targeting infants. Youth and Gender Affairs Chief Administrative Secretary Rachel Shebesh now says the development has exposed minors to related violations, pledging the government's commitment to end the vice in the country by the year 2022. President Uhuru Kenyatta in November last year made a declaration to end female genital mutilation by the year 2022.
I also believe that we can all commit to eliminate violence against women and girls. A woman has a 1 in 3 chance of experiencing physical or sexual violence in her lifetime. This is a major gap in our development record as a global community.
But as that deadline fast approaches, the war against FGM is far from over, as perpetrators are devising new tricks of dodging the long arm of the law. In Taita Taveta County, for instance, a county that is ranked among the 22 counties with high rates of female genital mutilation and gender-based violence, new ways of implementing the vice are emerging. Young children below the age of 1 year are the latest victims of the vice, which continues to claim the lives of thousands of children in the country. The cutting is brutally done in a twinkle of an eye to avoid any suspicions.
Tumepoteza watoto wengi sana kwa sababu wewe kijana umeoa na umeenda kazini, umewacha mke wako nyumbani na amezaa mtoto. Nyanyako anakuja na rafiki yake mkeketaji na anamwambia bibi yako, enda utengeneze mgeni chai kwa sababu huyu pia ni nyanyako. Wakati akienda jikoni atasikia mtoto analia ajabu, na ile kazi inafanyika haraka na anapangushwa ile damu haraka, na kwa sababu ni pali pa konyeti, hamtakimbilia kuangalia, mtaangalia labda mtoto ameumwa na mdudu, mtaangalia mwili mzima na mtoto anazidi kuumia.
Kama amekeketwa akiwa mchanga, definitely ukienda kumwona mtoto kama huyu utajua, kwa sababu mzazi yuko ndani na mtoto wake, so it will be very difficult for one person to know.
Youth and Gender Affairs Chief Administrative Secretary Rachel Shebesh, during her tour of the county, vowed to support efforts to eradicate the vice, which is part of retrogressive cultural practices that continue to violate the fundamental rights of women and girls.
Small children, 1 month, 2 months, are going through the same thing, but what is even more horrific is that it's done by their immediate relative. Where would you have a culture that would want a 2-3 month old baby to undergo FGM and in such a horrific manner?
Sisi wazee tumekaa chini tukaona hiyo ni culture potovu na ni culture ambayo haina maana, na tukisema kwamba hiyo culture lazima tuipinge na tuikatae.
Taita Taveta has to have his own policy on ending FGM, and the strategies and the action plans in that policy must respond to the new trend in Taita Taveta. So we're going to be able to put on monitoring systems to track, but also response systems and protection systems, since it's obvious that we have to protect them right from birth.
The vice is becoming rampant in Mata, Kitobo, and Sabaita sub-counties, with Taita Taveta County Woman Representative Lydia Haika saying that the county has set aside 5 million shillings to build safe houses for victims of FGM.
Stakeholders wengine wale watakuja on board ili tuweze kuweka vyumba hivyo ili tuweze kuokoa wale ambao watapatikana na majanga kama hayo ama watahitaji kuwa salama kwa ushauri ama kwa hali yoyote ile.
According to the State of World Population 2020 report released by the United Nations Population Fund, 200 million women and girls alive today have undergone some form of genital mutilation across 31 countries. 4.1 million people are at risk of being subjected to the retrogressive cultural rite in the year 2020. For Channel 1 News, I'm Serfine Achieng Oma. All right, and now along the corridors of justice, a lot has been happening as well. The Busia Governor, Sospita Ojamong, there was a defense hearing this particular morning, and according to a ruling that was issued, the governor indeed has a case to answer in an 8 million shilling graft case, among other charges, which include abuse of office. Tracking that particular case for us is Serfine Robi, who is now joining us live, just to give us an update. Very good afternoon, Serfine. What is the latest development with regards to this corruption case against the governor and other cases that are before the courts this morning?
A very good afternoon, Serfine. We're coming to you live from the Milimani Law Courts here in Nairobi, where it's a very chilly morning here, and we're still following up on a number of cases, most of which involve the anti-corruption courts. And the most recent that has just ended a few minutes ago involves the Busia Governor, Sospita Ojamong, whereby he was giving an unsworn statement in regards to whereby he had a case to answer for 4 charges, some of them being abuse of office and a conspiracy to defraud the county government about 8 million shillings, and 2 others, whereby he's going to give continue to give an unsworn statement at 2:30 p.m. Well, another story that we are following up today here at the Milimani Law Court involves a case whereby the business tribunal has been, whereby orders had been given earlier on to the business tribunal, and those orders have been confirmed today, whereby they are being barred from accessing their office and conducting any businesses in the business tribunal, given that they did not follow due procedures to get the positions. And some of the concerns being raised by the lawyers also involve that some of the people or the persons that are given those positions did not follow the right procedure, and also the 2/3 gender rule or policy, whereby it's only one lady who was given a position in the business tribunal. Well, the other case that we have also followed up that ended in the morning involves a case of the Willie Kimani case, whereby the court has adjourned, given that some of the MOH or the Ministry of Health regulations are not being adhered to, given the number of people that were present in the open court, just as the one that is behind me, only that in the morning in the court whereby the case was being conducted was small compared to the capacity that was supposed to be held in there. The judge raising concerns and said that the case now will be heard on Monday, after the judge said the tent that whereby he was conducting the case was very small. Whereby we're still continuing to follow up on these cases, especially the case on which we are on right now involving the Busia Governor, Sospita Ojamong, on the graft allegations, whereby he is alleged to have conspired to defraud the county government about 8 million shillings, and he will be continuing to give his unsworn statement at 2:30 p.m. Back to you, Serfine.
Thank you so much, Serfine, for that update. Of course, we'll be expecting more details from what is happening along the corridors of justice in our subsequent news bulletins. Our Serfine Robi is there for us. Now, we want to move on and look at other matters that touch on the weather situation in the country. The Kenya Meteorological Department has issued an advisory warning of strong winds across parts of the country, as well as large waves over the Indian Ocean between tomorrow and Sunday. In the advisory, the weatherman says strong winds blowing at more than 15.4 meters per second are expected over the coastal and eastern sector of the country over the period. indeed be careful if you are a resident of some of the areas that have been identified as expected to be affected by the strong winds that should be happening between tomorrow and Sunday. Now, we want to take you to Borrego County. Residents of Chepkesin village in Bartabwa Ward, Borrego County, are calling on the government to restore security in the area following constant banditry attacks that have forced villagers to flee their homes. Schools have not been spared either, with Chepkesin boarding and day primary school becoming a soft target over time, a situation that has seen learners transferred from the institution.
Sound of gunshots in this area is no longer an alien phenomenon. Shots fired not by law enforcers, but by bandits who have been terrorizing area residents. Many villagers from Chepkesin village of Borrego County have been forced to flee the area, with deserted homesteads now characterized by overgrown grass. Besides killing their victims, bandits have also been engaged in stealing livestock and breaking into shops, looting anything on their way. A few miles away lies Chepkesin boarding and day primary school. The school has now been turned into ruins following constant attacks by bandits, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic when learners are away.
Tangu walipoondoa askari hawa tukawa na shida sana na hii mambo ya insecurity ikarejea kwa kishindo sana na watu wakaanza kuhama katika sehemu hii. Hata unavyoona katika nchi sasa kuna watu, hakuna mifuko, hakuna kila kitu kwa sababu ya hali hiyo ya insecurity. Hata walimu wetu hasa wale ambao wanatoka Nyanza za juu wanahofia sana kurejea mahali hapa kwa sababu nyumba ya walimu ilipomolewa na
The institution, which once had over 400 learners, now has around 100, as most of them have been transferred, resulting from the obtaining situation.
Kwa wakati mmoja mwalimu aliuawa karibu na shule hapa, mwalimu wa shule hii. Hilo ni jambo ambalo lilitutisha sana na watu wengi wakaweza kuhama katika shule hii. Kwa hivyo tunaomba serikali ikiwezekana sana watupatie security ya kutosha katika shule hii.
Bartabwa Ward member of the County Assembly Ruben Chepsongol, who accompanied security bosses from Baringo North to assess the situation, calling on the national government to enhance security in the region.
Kuna wale viongozi ambao wanatetea wakora kwamba watu wakikuswa wanasema ni watu wetu. Na ile wale wakati watu wanawawa hawana jambo la kusema kuhusu watu ambao wamewawa. Tulikuwa nafikiri askari ikikuja sehemu hii ya TRT funduku zote zitatolewa kwa mkono ya wakora. Lakini sasa unaona sasa hata askari wako huko wanaendelea kukuja kutafuta watu.
And with these promises, the residents are eagerly waiting for the guns to go silent, this time for good. Nancy Okware, Channel 1 News.
And the government says it does not envisage non-compliance to health protocols by universities as well as technical and vocational education and training institutions ahead of the scheduled reopening in the month of September. State Department for University Education and Research Principal Secretary Ambassador Simon Abukwesi has said that institutions must comply with the strict guidelines ahead of the first reopening beginning September.
Speaking after inspecting Chuka University and Tharaka Nithi College to assess their level of preparedness ahead of the planned September reopening, State Department for University Education and Research Principal Secretary Ambassador Simon Nabukwesi said his ministry had directed universities to utilize available resources to resume phased reopening of classes. He observed that since most institutions are under-enrolled, the issue of social distancing can be worked out effectively.
We've not come across institutions which are not ready and enthusiastic to open. All institutions, tertiary institutions, the TVET institutions, the teacher training colleges and universities are very keen to open. And so I've not come across any that is not willing because they're not ready. They're all making preparations for opening. 100%. but they'll open at different times when they are ready. Between now.
Meanwhile, the fate of the Isiolo County Referral Hospital isolation wards, which is situated at the Kenya Medical Training College, remain uncertain. The county government had converted KMTC classes into an ICU and HDU ward, while the administration block was also converted into an isolation ward owing to lack of space at the referral hospital. Speaking while receiving a consignment of personal protective equipment, courtesy of the National COVID-19 Fund and Equity Group Foundation, County Secretary Ahmed Galgalo and Health Services Chief Officer Aliyo Ibrahim said with colleges set to reopen in the near future, the fate of the crucial COVID-19 center remains unknown.
The situation ahead is not really very good, and it is now the right time we sit and re-strategize on the best way to contain this disease. And we are really asking you to come in a big way. You are told our isolation center has not even reached the standard, the maximum bed. The president even has told every counties actually to make it less than 300.
In the meantime, the Africa Medical Research Foundation will partner with 9 counties to support them in enhancing existing measures in the fight against the spread of coronavirus. Elsewhere, over 3,000 unemployed youths and those who had lost their jobs due to COVID-19 pandemic have enlisted in the National Hygiene Program in Kisii County. The program meant to improve hygiene conditions in urban slums of Kisii Central and Kitutu Chache South sub-counties will cushion the youths who had lost their livelihoods when coronavirus containment measures were slapped.
We don't have people from outside. We have ensured we have recruited people from this area. They were vetted by our elders here. We participated and I'm happy.
And pastors from Busia County are calling on the government to reconsider the COVID-19 measures that require elderly persons not to attend church services. The group says that churches cannot operate without those over 58 years of age, terming them as an important segment in the church.
Elders must be in the church. And elders, that's the pattern and plan of God, that the elders must be there to show the youths the way forward. And they are the visionary holders. And therefore the church cannot do without the elders.
Finally, hundreds of vulnerable families in Nairobi County will receive food and non-food items worth 3.8 million shillings, courtesy of the National Government Affirmative Action Fund. Nairobi County Woman Representative Esther Passaris, while flagging off the donations to respective sub-counties, said the initiative is targeting 1,800 families drawn from vulnerable groups.
We're distributing 900 of these bags through the sub-county DCCs. And we also have sanitary towels that we're giving because we've heard that there's a lot of need for sanitary towels. So we've got 48,000 sanitary towels we'll be distributing across Nairobi. We're working with various partners.
Beatrice Gatonyang-Etich, Channel 1 News.
And a report on the state of social protection in Kenya reveals that the bulk of the vulnerable population in the country are yet to benefit from the government's social protection coverage, dubbed Progressive Pathway Towards Universal Social Protection System in Kenya. The Joint Social Development Goals report recommends the expansion of social protection as well as strengthening of linkages between social protection, agriculture, and livelihood opportunities.
With the Constitution guaranteeing economic, social and cultural rights for all Kenyans, the government has implemented a raft of measures meant to cushion vulnerable groups from economic turbulence. A report on the state of social protection in the country, dubbed a Progressive Pathway Towards Universal Social Protection System in Kenya, however, reveals that 78% of vulnerable persons have been excluded from the government's social protection coverage, with only 12% of households benefiting from social protection. And despite the country expanding the coverage of its national cash transfer to reach 1.3 million households in 2019, 12% of Kenyans remain food insecure. Labour and Social Protection Cabinet Secretary Simon Chelugui saying that the government remains committed to ensure coverage of those excluded while improving the delivery and support of the 22% already covered by government intervention.
The measure of government and leadership of the country is not on the big programs, the projects, the airports, the railways. It is the support and the funding and the cushioning of the poor and vulnerable that truly measures and connects government with the people. It gives us a lot of satisfactions every time.
Chelugui says the joint report will be instrumental in mobilizing increased budgetary allocations to enhance cross-sectoral interventions that will include scaling up appropriate gender-sensitive social protection policies and programs in rural areas.
In Nairobi and all our urban areas, we have not seen any social unrest because of these interventions that we are doing as a government. Elsewhere, other countries, we've seen how this wrong management of this crisis has led to people moving out of estates to streets and to shops, but we have been able to control.
The assurance coming amid calls for more public-private sector partnerships to support vulnerable groups, especially during the coronavirus pandemic.
We note that this joint program will contribute and support the government of Kenya to continue moving away from poverty-targeted social protection, which exclude very many vulnerable people, towards a more inclusive and universal approach. COVID-19 has taught us that every person is at risk of falling into poverty at some point in life, and therefore social protection can protect all people from the risk of poverty in all its dimensions. Experience and available literature has shown that investing in
the SDG joint program aims to support the government to operationalize universal social protection through generation of evidence, advocacy and policy, and development of specific plans and financing strategies to make social protection for all Kenyans a reality. Yusuf Farah, Channel 1 News.
Peleg Kolipo, one of our viewers online, thank you so much for creating time for us. Remember, we are streaming this live for you on Facebook and on YouTube as well. Plus, you can visit our website, www.kbc.co.ke, for this and other stories that we have there for you. Now, yesterday we know that the fuel prices were adjusted. Here is what happened in Kiambu County. I will be letting you know more about what Kiambu County residents did to adjust to the increment of the fuel prices in the country. But now, let me inform you that Nancy Janet Kabui Kadhugu has moved a step closer to become the new Auditor General. Let me just take that story for you again. Nancy Janet Kabui Kadhugu has moved a step closer to become the country's next Auditor General. This is after the National Assembly's Finance and National Planning Committee approved her appointment to the office that has remained vacant almost a year after the retirement of Edward Ouko. Following the committee's endorsement, Kadhugu now awaits the final confirmation from the whole House.
The National Assembly Finance Committee has confirmed the suitability of Nancy Janet Kabui Kadhugu as the next Auditor General. Kadhugu is currently the Director of Quality Assurance at the Auditor General's office. The House will now consider the committee's approval of Kadhugu before she can formally succeed Edward Ouko. The approval of Kadhugu by MPs will mark the end of 2 attempts by President Uhuru Kenyatta to fill the position. The process to replace Ouko began immediately after his retirement, but the first panel, chaired by Sami Onyango, re-advertised the position, saying none of 17 candidates shortlisted after the first interviews met the criteria for the job.
And pursuant to the provisions of Article 229(1) of the Constitution, Section 11(8) of the Public Audit Act 2015, and Section 3 and 8 of the Public Appointment Parliamentary Approval Act 2011, this House approves the appointment of Ms. Nancy Janet Kabui Kadhugu as the Auditor General.
Lack of substantive Auditor General has complicated financial planning and reporting for state corporations whose books cannot be closed without a substantive Auditor General signing them. Meanwhile, the National Assembly Administrative Committee wants the Interior Ministry to scale up police patrol and enhance community policing in Soy constituency, where 7 cases of rape and killings of minors have been reported in the last 2 months.
The following are the strategies which have been put in place to curb cases of defilement, rape, and killings in Soy constituency. 1. Enhance foot and mobile patrols by police officers in the affected areas and other areas. Second, enhance community policing and Nyumba Kumi initiative.
Kevin Washira, Channel 1 News.
Thank you, Kevin, for that report. Now, let me take you to what I was telling you earlier about what Kiambu residents did to adjust to the increment in fuel prices. It was a mad rush for motorists in Kiambu as they flocked to various petrol stations Tuesday evening to fuel their vehicles following the latest review of prices announced by the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority that saw a substantial rise in prices. The motorists say that they opted to take advantage of the little time they had before midnight, even as they feared that the increment may cause increase in prices of commodities in the country.
The Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority added 17 shillings and 30 cents on a litre of diesel and 11 shillings and 38 cents for a similar amount of super petrol beginning Tuesday midnight. In its July fuel review published Tuesday, the authority also hiked the price of kerosene by 2 shillings and 98 cents. EPRA attributed the price increment to a rise in average landed cost of imported super petrol and diesel in May. It is this increment that forced a number of motorists to flock various petrol stations to fuel their cars ahead of the review. At the Shell petrol station in Kiambu, long queues were witnessed, with motorists aiming to save some shillings before midnight.
Nakunywa mafuta sahi kwa sababu nimesikia bei imepanda, so najaribu kusave on the liter I have. Ndio maana nimekuja kupanga line.
Nabeba customer 6 na inawalipisha 100. Kumaanisha bei ya mafuta ikiwa juu hivyo hatutaweza kwenda na mshahara, labda mtu ataenda nyumbani na 100 na watoto wamemgojea nyumbani.
Nilikuwa nakuja tu kawaida kuongeza, lakini lazima nitaongeza kidogo zaidi sababu bei imeenda juu.
Other stations are said to have run out or stopped selling fuel, perhaps awaiting midnight when the new prices would take effect.
Serikali wakiongeza wao wana inform mbele customers. Ndivyo kuwa najua venye kunaenda.
With the review also came the fear that prices of other basic commodities will also be hiked, presenting more pain for the common Kenyan.
Ukiongezea mafuta pia inaendelea kufinyiria mwananchi wa kawaida. Of course, bei za vitu zote zitapanda, so we are actually very worried.
Nancy Okware, Channel 1 News.
Residents of Kijiwetanga area of Malindi are protesting over an increase in the cases of criminality following an unusual power outage that has left the area without electricity supply. The locals are wondering why Kenya's electric utility is yet to replace a faulty transformer 3 months after it exploded. But they are not the only ones in darkness, as residents of Barwesa area of Baringo are protesting lack of power connectivity since independence.
Kijiwetanga area of Kilifi County, residents staged a demonstration to protest alleged laxity by officials of Kenya Power in the area, who they accused of failure to heed their plea to replace a faulty transformer.
Kaza ni kwamba watu wa Power wa kila siku wanatudanganya. Tumeenda mpaka ofisi, tumemwona regional ambaye ni Mr. Macharia, lakini ametujibu kwamba haiwezekani. Sasa kama nyinyi Power ndo tumategemea nyinyi, halafu masema tuwezekani, si tuende wapi tena?
They lament being thrown into darkness for the last quarter of the year, a situation they say has led to an increase in incidences of insecurity, especially at night.
Watoto wakitoka na usiku, saa nyingine tunaona hata wengine wanagaidiwa kwa sababu ya kuwa hakuna moto. Ni giza tu, giza tupu huku nchi yetu. Hakuna moto kabisa.
What is more, the business community says they continue to suffer huge losses. They wonder why KPLC undertook to restore power, yet it is yet to fulfill this promise 3 months after the issue was first reported.
Sema kweli kijiji kizima chote hichi familia kama 40 hivi kuendelea 50 hazina moto kwa miezi mitatu. Hii hali ilikuja mwanzo moto kawa wakadimu, alafu baadaye transformer ikablow kabisa, ikalisha mzinga. Tukawafuata watu wa power, lakini hakuna response yote ambayo tunapata. Sasa tunaumia. Istoshe power ndio sisi hatujapata maji, lakini tumechimba maboreholes, ambao maboreholes hizo ndio zinatusaidia sisi. Lakini sasa cha kushangaza, sasa tunatembea kilomita 20 kutafuta maji. Filihali kwamba boreholes tunazo ni moto tu, lakini moto sasa wao ndio wametukatizia.
In Borrego County, residents of Barwesa ward held demonstrations of their own over lack of power connectivity since independence. The locals claim that the obtaining situation has seen the area lag behind in matters of development.
Kuna mama mwenye anataka kuchifungua. Watu wanatumia hapa okoa. Hakuna hata wanatumia ile okoa ya shilingi 20, wanaenda kumulikia huyo mama ndio achifungue. Sasa ndio ningependa niambie serikali wetu ikiongozwa hata na huyu mtu anaitwa CS Keter, hata William. Pia mimi nashangaa kwa vile William anasema ati stima imefika Kenya hii yote, na unajua sasa hii mari kutapa hakuna stima. Mahali Cheptumo, mahali mheshimiwa Cheptumo alisomea, Cheptumo sasa hizi anasikia, Kiptesa anasikia, Corona anasikia, hata CS Keter anasikia kwamba hapa mahali Cheptumo alisomea hakuna stima.
They say health facilities have been majorly affected since most of the services require electricity. They do not understand why neighboring villages surrounding them have power, yet they have been left isolated in darkness.
Sasa mwenye anataka kujifungua anajifungua kwa shule hapo, alafu anapelekwa tu kwa wheelbarrow mpaka hospitali nyingine huko mbali sana, na hospitali ndio. Na kwa nini tuko hata wamama wako na right, wamesa wanaume kama wanaume wengine, kama Cheptumo, kama Magalap? Na kwa nini sasa wamama wetu wanateseka kwa sababu ya kitu kama hii? So lete hiyo stima ikuja hapa.
They have now petitioned the area lawmaker to push for connection or risk unspecified action. Caroline Kamar reporting for Channel 1. Caroline Kamar reporting for Channel 1 News.
In the world of business, the government is banking on technical training institutes to improve Kenya's labor market, which is facing serious shortage of technical skills. Education Ministry Chief Administrative Secretary Isaac Kinuthia has said that the government has identified Kiambu, Nairobi and Thika technical institutes to pioneer a new concept where students will spend 50% of their time in class and spend the rest of the 50% in actual work environment.
The government has marked the TVET sector to be one of the key enablers of the country's economic growth, as well as key driving force in addressing the growing youth unemployment and entrepreneurship. In the last 7 years, the government has launched several reforms accompanied by the establishment of new government agencies responsible for the coordination and regulation of TVET institutions in the country and the launch of competency-based curriculum for technical institutes.
You take a learner in a class for, if their course is for a year, 6 months they will be in class interacting with machines, interacting with how to operationalize machines, interacting with repairing of the same machines. Then 6 months you send them into what we call here in Kenya internships. That is an internship of a kind. It's an industrial exercise.
The job market in Kenya has become more competitive, with most industries automating their processes with the emergence of new technologies. However, most technical training centers in the country are stuck with outmoded technology, making it difficult to secure employment. Kenya has partnered with Germany, where the European nation is providing technical assistance and funding to the tune of 3 billion shillings to Kiambu, Nairobi and Thika technical training institutes to revamp their capacity.
Our experience is, after they finished with the dual vocational system, or TVET system in this context, they are almost immediately assets to our company. And before, what we were seeing, the theoretical education is very, very good. Sometimes we are really missing specific skills which are needed for their job later as service technicians.
Through GIZ and German Financial Cooperation via KfW, the three institutes will be equipped with new workshops and state-of-the-art equipment in the relevant areas to make the practical training a hands-on experience.
Ours is actually a real collaboration between the industry and the TTI. That means our training is based on a joint curricula and a joint training plan between the industry and the TTI. I mean, plastically explained, or a little bit simplified explained, our trainees are for three months in the training institution, then they come 3 months to the industry, then they go 3 months in the training institution, and vice versa until they complete the course.
The nationwide closure of learning institutions has disrupted learning and training for over 430,000 TVET trainees. The Ministry of Education plans to reopen TVET institutions in September this year in strict adherence to the Ministry of Health guidelines for containing the coronavirus. O'Brien Kimmel for Lunchtime News.
Thank you, Brian, for that report. Now, some good news for farmers. 20,000 women smallholder farmers in Kenya stand a chance to increase their harvest and household income through a training program organized by Koteva Agri-Science. The program will also see the farmers access agricultural inputs and market linkages. Koteva Agri-Science country lead Humphrey Kariae said 2,000 farmers have already been equipped with quality hybrid seeds to upscale their harvest.
According to Koteva Agri-Science, the program will see smallholder farmers access agricultural inputs, training and market linkages to increase their harvest and household incomes. The programs include the Koteva Agri-Science Women in Agriculture program, where Koteva will provide technical support to women farmer groups.
Been able to train farmers as the front end, the retailers as the front end advisors to be able to communicate certain pieces and informations to farmers. Most important is selection of the right varieties. If it's maize crop, the right varieties that they need to grow for their environment. If it's use of crop protection products, the right crop protection products to address certain challenges of pests and diseases that they're doing, and also weed management for their farms.
Koteva Agri-Science country lead for the Kenyan Great Lakes region, Humphrey Kariae, says the 2,000 women farmers in Meru County have been given access to agronomic education extension services, access to financial services and market facilitation, linking them to strong commodity supply chains. This has consequently seen a 25% rise in yield.
So this is a women-only project, and they are using modern farming techniques that incorporate conservation agriculture, minimum tillage, but also responsible use of crop protection products. The results of this project is that those women are able to feed themselves sustainably. They are not buying food anymore.
Additionally, the program targets to roll out 1 acre demonstration plots under One School, 1 Acre program, where demonstration plots will be set up in 35 identified schools spread across 7 counties in Kenya. This will see 20,000 primary school learners and their parents trained on sustainable agriculture and food production. The farm targets to train at least 25 million farmers in sustainable agriculture worldwide.
Necessity is the mother of invention, so the old tales say. Amid supply chain disruptions exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic, a young entrepreneur has stepped up to plug the gap by making the first ever made in Kenya thermoguns. 30-year-old Moses Mbesta's firm Numeral IoT has a capacity to produce 2,000 units daily and has 70 employees. Here is Regina Manyara-Gitau with the details.
Located at the Solonite Godowns along Mombasa Road sits Numeral IoT, a 100 million shillings company established 2 years ago and owned by 30-year-old Moses Mbetsa.
This is a young man who has responded to it by coming and developing thermoguns, which are all locally manufactured.
In the last 24 months, numerous IoT manufactured speed governors and only changed tact after identifying a niche in the supply of personal protective equipment, especially thermoguns, and the rest is history.
This might be one of the few, if there is any other, because we are not aware of any other such factory in this part of the world, that is in Africa. Therefore, we should take pride in the level of innovation.
During a tour of the factory, Chief Administrative Secretary, Ministry of Industry, Trade and Enterprise Development, Lawrence Karanja, lauded efforts so far made by local manufacturers to scale up capacity through innovation.
These thermoguns can and will be exported to the region with our support. We'll reach out to our State Department for Trade to ensure that we market our own innovator and our own entrepreneur. Moses Mbetsa's thermoguns are retailing at 5,000 shillings, unlike imported pieces that fetch up to 22,000 shillings in the local market. On his part, he hopes Kenyans under the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya initiative will embrace his gadgets.
We want to bring high-tech devices which seem to be expensive in the market, equal low price of good quality, so that we can be able to push our economy yetu izidi kusonga.
Umrah Flying Doctors and Standard Chartered Bank Kenya have partnered to offer emergency medical evacuation service to the bank's customers. The partnership will see Standard Chartered Bank's clients get medical attention and air ambulance rescue services through the Umrah Flying Doctors Maisha Air Ambulance Plan, which will cost between 2,000 shillings and 24,000 annually based on the number of countries in the cover. Other benefits include access to 24-hour medical helpline from anywhere within the region for medical advice, unlimited evacuation flight per year for medical emergencies, as well as unlimited ground ambulance transfers within Kenya. Other benefits also include wide coverage of medical evacuation in countries such as Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, South Sudan, and Ethiopia, and direct contact with Umrah Flying Doctors with the medical professionals without having to go through a third party.
So the reason for this partnership is to ensure that those customers of Standard Chartered Bank in Kenya who may have health insurance but do not have emergency health insurance, is that an extension of health services, that actually you do not just need health services, insurance for health services that you access from hospital, because you may need to be evacuated from one place to another as an emergency, and that can also add your out-of-pocket costs. That because the aircraft are important, that they are expensive to moving you when you need that service.
We talked to a lot of our customers and our clients, and health was on top of mind. That is something they would like us to solve for, and we sought out to say, okay, we are not in the health business, but there's definitely a way we can partner, and we can look for like-minded partners who can help us solve this problem for our clients.
And the UK government has ordered telecommunication companies to strip 5G equipment from Huawei out of the system by the year 2027. The move follows sanctions imposed by the US, which claims that the Chinese firm poses a national security threat. Details of this and more in our International Business News Roundup.
The UK mobile providers have now been banned from buying new Huawei 5G equipment after 31st December, and they must also remove the entire Chinese firm's 5G kit from their networks by 2027. The decision came after UK National Cyber Security Center warned that highly restrictive US sanctions meant the security of Huawei's equipment could not be guaranteed. Digital Secretary Oliver Dowden, who made the announcement Tuesday, said the move is now expected to delay the country's 5G rollout by a year, and the cumulative cost, when coupled with earlier restrictions announced against Huawei, would amount to. The UK last reviewed Huawei's role in its telecoms infrastructure in January, when it was decided to let the company remain a supplier but introduced a cap on its market share. In response to the 5G network ban, Chinese Ambassador Liu Xiaoming questioned whether the UK can provide a fair business environment for foreign firms, terming the decision disappointing. And Nissan Motor has unveiled the Ariya, an electric SUV, and its first all-new global model in 5 years, betting on the move to help recovery efforts after more than a year of scandals and sharp decline earnings. Ariya features Nissan's latest self-driving technologies with a driving range comparable to Tesla models and will sell from around $47,000. Sources indicate that Nissan plans to sell just 30,000 units of the new model. Finally, U.S. aircraft maker Boeing reported cancellations of 60 orders in June, mostly by aircraft leasing companies. Boeing had already announced 150 orders cancelled in March and 108 in April. The firm further dropped an additional 123 planes from its backlog of orders because it no longer can be certain those orders will be filled. However, Boeing still has more than 4,500 jets in its backlog, enough to keep its factories working for a year to come. Boeing now has a total of 843 cancelled orders this year compared to 59 new orders. Most of the planes cancelled or dropped from the backlog were the 737 MAX, the travel jet that has been grounded since March 2019 following 2 fatal crashes, and 5 787 Dreamliner jets. Ronald Willie, News Hour Business.
For us now to focus on some sports and news. Egypt and Tunisia have both said they are ready to host the semi-finals and final of this year's Africa Champions League. The Confederation of Africa Football is looking to replace Cameroon, who on Monday withdrew from hosting the matches due to a spike in coronavirus infections in the country. The Tunisia Football Federation insists it should be hosting the games, which are planned for September. The semi-finals are both set to be Morocco against Egypt, and Al Ahly played Wydad Casablanca, and Zamalek take on Raja Casablanca. Before the postponement of the sport around the globe due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the semi-finals were set to be played over 2 legs, home and away, with the final a one-off match on neutral territory for the first time ever. But last month, CAF announced a Final Four format, with the semi-finals being reduced to a single match. And Chelsea manager Frank Lampard says he wants more from his team, despite pursuit to rescue Champions League sport being given a boost by a narrow 1-0 victory over relegated Norwich. Striker Olivier Giroud guided a header past Tim Krul on the stroke of halftime to earn Chelsea the only goal of the game. The victory strengthens Chelsea's hold on the third place of the Premier League, where they sit 4 points above Leicester and Manchester United, who both play tomorrow. Chelsea take on Manchester United in the FA Cup semi-final on Sunday before travelling to Anfield for the next Premier League game against champions Liverpool on Wednesday. And if in Samburu County, this is some good news for you. Samburu County government has drilled several boreholes in Gilai and Tankar villages in the county, offering clean water to residents and their livestock. The water project, which is coming as a reprieve to residents after waiting for many years, will see the water also used for irrigation purposes, boosting food security in the area.
Residents of Ngilai and Takar villages are expected to reap the benefits of ongoing water projects spearheaded by Samburu County administration. After many years of water scarcity, elated residents applauded the move by the county government to sink several boreholes in their villages, an initiative they say comes as a relief to communities that have been battling drought.
Yote ikiwa fema, tutapenda pia kufanya irrigation, kutumia hii maji tulime nayo hizi kama mboka, viazi, nyanya, pia ikiwezekana hata katomani, mahindi.
Tunarudishia governor asante sana kwa hii maji watu walipata. Hata mifugo walipata maji, kila kitu wameanza kunywa maji. Kitambo walikuwa wanaenda 50 kilometers. Wengine ng'ombe zingine wanakufa kwa njia kwa sababu maji iko mbali, lakini saa hizi kila kitu iko sawa.
The locals went on to challenge fellow villagers to jealously safeguard the water resources if they are to serve them for years and generations. This coming at a time the Water, Sanitation and Irrigation Principal Secretary Joseph Irungu disclosed that most sections of Kiambu County will continue utilizing water from boreholes, despite the county being a major water source to Nairobi and surrounding areas, as the government looks for a lasting solution.
Suluhisho la kudumu ni kuzuia maji. Katika nchi hii tunapoteza 60% ya maji mvua ambayo tunapokea. Asilimia 60 yake inateremka kwenda katika Indian Ocean. Kwa hivyo mipango ya madams itaendelea, na nashukuru watu wa Githunguri kwa sababu wametupatia nafasi mara ya pili kutuweke damu hapa. Hiyo Roiro 2 ni damu kubwa ambayo itazuia maji kupeleka Roiro, Juja, Kiambu na pengine Nairobi.
Speaking while commissioning the Minja Nyakabugi Water Project borehole, the PS asked Kenyans to practice good water usage, adding that the government is in the process of constructing water recycling plants where sewer water can be safely returned back to the rivers.
We want to have an app. It will be like when you want to get an exhauster, you want to water brought to you, there will be an app that you can log in, and you can be able to get the nearest water booster near you, and the exhauster near you, so that we know where you draw water and where those people who have exhausters exhaust.
For Channel 1 News, I am Emily K. Bade.
Emily, for that. Residents of Utange in Kisauni sub-county of Mombasa County are protesting over the poor state of roads in the area. The residents say the poor state of the Bamburi Mwisho Utange Road has caused them untold suffering, including fatal accidents. Have a look. This is the state of the Bamburi Mwisho Utange Road. The poor state of the road prompting area residents to protest, demanding immediate repair of the damaged road, which they say has caused them untold suffering. Over the last 3 months alone, several people have died, with others left nursing injuries due to tragic accidents along the section of the road.
Zaidi ya watu 15 wamekufa kwa hii barabara. Kina mama wajawazito, watoto wanapelekwa hospitali wagonjwa. Within a period of 3 months, watu 15 wamekufa. No wonder Muhuri ikasema enough is enough. Miaka nenda miaka rudi, hatuoni wakirekebisha hii barabara.
Magari makubwa haisikii barabara mbovu. Sisi wenye kupanda mahonda na tukutuku na wenye kutembea na maguu ndio tuiona hii shida jamani. Turekebishieni tuomba.
They are blaming the local leadership over what they term as failure to facilitate the repair of the damaged road.
Na wakubwa wetu wanga wanapita, hata Alimbogo Menza jana tulimkuta kule chini, jishikilie chini. Anazindua mradi tu wa kazi kwa vijana. Na hapa hafiki. Deputy Governor hapa anapita daily, yuishi tu hapa 7 Star. Hii barabara yuiona na yeye daily, hii ni njia yake.
Mbunge wa area hii nasema afai kwa sababu ameshindwa kuangalia wananchi wake.
While acknowledging the dilapidated state of the road, Area Member of Parliament Ali Mbogo, however, termed the protest as a political witch hunt against him. Mbogo saying that the contract for the rehabilitation of the road was awarded 2 years ago, and already work has been completed on 15 kilometers, which links Serena in Shanzu to Jocham Hospital in Kisauni, but was slowed down because the contractor had not been paid about 270 million shillings owed to him by the national government.
Amount yote ni milioni 270 ambao hajalipo ile contractor. Tukasukumana tangu tulipokuwa bunge hizo wiki mbili zilizopita, nikaenda kwa waziri, nikaenda kwa Director General Engineer Kinoti, nikamuona Engineer Uginga ambaye ndio in charge wa hiyo project ambaye yuko based Nairobi pale Barabara Plaza, na wakanihakikishia mheshimiwa huyu jamaa kweli ameshaleta certificate zake, tumepokea, lakini tulikuwa tunangojea fedha kutoka Exchequer. Na wiki hii tutapata pesa na tunahakika ile pesa ikipatikana tutahakikisha jamaa amelipwa kiwango fulani.
And it's a wrap from us right here on KBC Lunchtime News. Have a lovely afternoon.
Vera Beauty College. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy,